Hi everyone, this is Tanika Dillard coming to you with the Grievers Empowerment Moment. And I hope that you will join me as we discuss a quick little tool to help us on our journey of grief recovery. Tonight, I would like to talk about how it's necessary for grievers to find our sound. Now, I know that sounds a little different, but it's necessary. So let's talk about it. If we think of all of the emotions that produce sound, love produces sound, happiness produces sound. Let's even think about nature. Nature produces a sound. And if we think about grief, grief also has a sound. Now, when we think about the sounds of love and of happiness and the sounds of nature, those are sounds that we don't seek to stop. We don't seek to silence those sounds. But the sound of grief is the one sound that is quickly silenced. Let me give you an example. Have you ever been at the bedside of someone who has died? Yeah, I have. I've done it. And immediately there are not words. There are not adequate words to describe the condition of your heart at that moment. But there are sounds. It's familiar sounds like and gasp. But there often are no words. And if you have ever sat on the front seat or the front row at a mortuary because it was someone closely associated in relation to you that has died, you know how it feels to weep over the death of someone that you love. And often there are no words, but there are sounds. What I've found is the more intense the sound, the more intense the support. So if you're at a funeral or if you're at the hospital bed of someone who has recently died, there's going to be someone next to you to hold you and to rub your back and to give you tissue. It's all in an effort to comfort you, but also to minimize the sound of your grieving. Yes, it happens. It happens that you are crying so purposefully and intensely, but someone comes along and grabs you by the back, and really they press your head against their chest and it muffles your sound. But let me encourage you that the sound of the griever is necessary. It's uncomfortable, it's unfamiliar, but it's necessary. It's often as grievers, we don't know what to say, although there are numerous thoughts that are dancing around in our heads. And what I want to encourage you is once you have found and released your sound, then you can find your words. It's easier to communicate the pain, the anger, whatever the emotions are that you feel after you've released your sound. So what is this saying for those that support those that grieve? If you are privileged enough to companion and walk alongside those that are grieving, may I empower you to be comfortable with the sound. The sound of lamenting, the sound of crying is so vital to this journey of grief recovery. And if you are the grief supporter, I encourage you to be comfortable with that sound. Make no attempt or effort to silence or interrupt those moments where the griever is releasing a sound. After grievers find their sound, they are able to release their words. It's uncomfortable and it's unfamiliar, but it is necessary. Let me share a quick story with you before our moment together ends. Almost 9 years ago, our son Israel Grayson died at 38 weeks due to a cord accident. And while I was in the hospital waiting for my time to go into the operating room for a planned C-section, I began to lament. There was such a hollowness of the sound that was released. It felt like my soul was actually crying, but there were no tears. It was only a sound. And in that moment, I felt the freedom of grief. The sound actually scared me because I've never heard such hollowness come from me. But that sound was necessary. And it was after those sounds erupted from my soul that I was able to find my words. And so tonight, I want to give you permission to find your sound. I want to give you permission to do what's uncomfortable, but to do what's necessary and finding your sound. Find your sound and then find your words. Thank you.